shows Joe King come out on stage and say,
"Hello, yes, my name's Joe King. I'm not joking. No, I prefer to be called Juris Doctor King. Anyway, yes, by now you know I start off the show with a little talk about the writer's strike. Now, for this episode, I decided to ask our future overlord, artificial intelligence, how long the writer's strike would last. I specifically asked Google's new chatbot, Bard, the following question. How long will the WGA's writer's strike last? Bard's answer was the following. It is difficult to say how long the WGA writer's strike will last. Well, no shit. That's why I asked you, AI. Jesus. Anyway, it goes on to say that the last strike in 07-08 lasted 100 days, but the strike in 1988 lasted 153 days. The length of the strike will depend on a number of factors, including the willingness of both sides to compromise and the public's reaction to the strike. The WGA is demanding a number of things from the AMP-TP, including increased compensation for new media, improved health care benefits, and more control over how their work is used. The AMP-TP has said that it is willing to negotiate on some of these issues, but it has not yet made any concrete offers. The public's reaction to the strike is also likely to play a role in its length. If viewers and advertisers start to lose interest in television and movies, the studios may be more willing to make concessions to the WGA. However, if the strike drags on for too long, it could have a lasting impact on the entertainment industry. Only time will tell how long the WGA's writer's strike will last. However, it is clear that both sides are serious about their demands, and it is unlikely that the strike will be resolved quickly. Okay, so there you go. Thanks, Bard AI from Google, for that analysis. It pains me to hear that, as of course we here in my imagination want to get Saturday Night Live back on the air. But they won't budge until the living writers are back at it. So anyway, want to talk about the news? And let's talk about the news, okay? In the news, the Durham report came out yesterday, and it found that the FBI had relied on, quote, raw, unanalyzed, and uncorroborated intelligence to launch the investigation into President Trump's ties to Russia, and that there had been extremely troublesome failures by the FBI in its handling of the investigation. However, it's already been reported per Hillary Clinton's camp that the Durham report is nothing more than Russian misinformation, so nothing to see here. Okay, hey-o, okay. Anyway, yes, former President Obama sat down and spoke with CBS News and said that the thing he's most worried about with the country is that we have a divided conversation, in part because we have a divided media. He further explained that back in his day, there were only 3 TV stations and people were getting a similar sense of what is true and what isn't, and what was real and what was not. So basically, President Obama doesn't like how propaganda is less powerful now because not every station is saying the same exact thing. Now, I'm not saying that MSNBC is always wrong and Fox is always right, or vice versa, but personally, I don't see a problem in a diversity of thought in the public discourse. If only he were dead, we could have Obama on the program and talk about this issue, but my sources indicate he's alive and well. But we'd be willing to make an exception to only having on dead guests if President Obama is willing to come on the show. So, President Obama, if you're listening, you have an open invitation to come on the Joe King Show to discuss the pros and cons of a diversified media landscape. Okay, very good. Now, you know I have an alter ego named Tom Murphy, who incidentally is also an attorney. Anyway, my alter ego, Tom Murphy, comes from a very famous family. You probably know his cousin Eddie. No, not SNL alum Randy Quaid, but instead another SNL alum, an all-time great from that show, his cousin Eddie Murphy. I know they don't look very much alike, as Tom is about as white as the main character from the movie Powder, but I swear my alter ego Tom Murphy and Eddie Murphy are cousins. The issue is, Cousin Eddie doesn't seem to like Tom. Instead of Eddie calling Tom Cousin Tom, he always instead seems to be mad at him and calls him an Uncle Tom. Tom always responds,
yeah, Eddie, I have 2 nephews. What's the problem?
Tom and I don't get it, but hey, that's Tom's cousin Eddie for you.
King walks off the stage and onto another stage and sits in a seat behind a desk and says,
please welcome to the program former SNL star and current Saturday Night Alive star John Belushi.
Blues Brothers music begins playing. Dun 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 dun. Shows Belushi in a black suit, sunglasses, and fedora emerge from behind a curtain. Applause, applause, applause. Belushi walks over and sits in a seat next to King's desk and says, "Juris Doctor King, how the hell are you?"
King, I'm doing well, John. How are you holding up with the Saturday Night Alive on strike?
Belushi, it sucks. I support the writers, of course, and hope they get what they're asking for, but man, I wish we were still doing the show.
King, what do you like about the show?
Belushi, well, being with Gilda is, of course, the best. And then getting to work with all this great talent I never got to work with before. Chris Farley, Phil Hardman, Jan Hooks, Norm Macdonald, Denitra Vance, Philip Seymour Hoffman. It's been great.
King, so do you think I should give Hoffman a break and portray myself when Not Alive gets back on the air?
Belushi, are we going to talk about me, or is this all going to be about you? Do what you want. I don't care.
King, okay, very good. We'll table that, okay? Now, we did a sketch recently in episode 249 of Saturday Night Alive where you played Jack Bajorsky and he was a dead person seeing a shrink.
Belushi, oh, come on. Do we have to talk about that one?
King, well, I guess we don't have to. I thought you might want to.
Belushi, okay, whatever. Yeah, I played a deceased character named Jack Bajorsky who didn't like that people seemed to remember him more for dying young than for what he did while he was living.
King, and there's some parallels between that character and yourself, correct?
Belushi, yeah, you know, I'd rather have people remember me for everything I did at Second City and SNL, and for all the movies I was in. Basically what I did while I was living, rather than just remembering me as some cautionary tale about someone who died too young.
King, okay, very good. Now I want to take you back to March 5th, 1982 at the Chateau Marmont.
Belushi, what did I just say?
King, I'm not really sure. While you're talking, I'm just thinking about the next question I'm going to ask.
Belushi, well, what I said, are you listening now?
King,
Belushi, I just said I didn't want to be just remembered for dying young. And you're going right into my death. Now, what the fuck is that?
King, okay, very good. Point well received. Now, who do you think was a more tragic death, you or James Dean?
Belushi gives King an icy stare.
King, okay, fine. Jesus, switching gears. What do you miss most from your time on SNL?
Belushi, the camaraderie for sure. Me, Gilda, Billy, Danny, we were all great friends, and so was the whole cast. Lorraine, Jane,
King, are you thinking of Chevy Chase?
Belushi, no, the black guy.
King, Garrett Morris.
Belushi, right, Garrett. And Chevy, before he left, we were a very tight-knit group, and it was like we went to war together. We were going through something so crazy and surreal, and they were the only other people who knew what it was like.
King, and you were close with Lauren as well?
Belushi, of course, we all loved Lauren, and all the writers and producers. It was really an amazing group. And even though sometimes in the middle of it, you kind of get sick of it and want to go do movies or something, in hindsight, I really miss it, and it was the most amazing few years of my life.
King, okay, very good. And do you have a similar camaraderie with the members of Saturday Night Alive?
Belushi, well, we haven't been doing it as long, but we're getting there. I love working with them all, and I've become great friends with Chris Farley.
King, in fact, early on in the Snoddle days, you both presented yourselves in drag for a while, correct?
Belushi, yeah, that was neither I nor Chris's favorite gag, because we didn't want to come off as insensitive, but obviously it was your idea, and you're an asshole, so.
King, right, okay, very good. Now, do you have anything to add in closing?
Belushi, just that, dead from the earth, we're not alive.
King, wrong show there, Chief.
Belushi, that's right. Well, I'm just hoping that the strike gets resolved as quickly as possible so we can get back to performing on Saturday Night Alive.
King, there you have it. John Belushi, everybody.
Applause, applause, applause.
King, that's all we have for this episode, but the next episode where we interview another deceased guest, or President Obama if he accepts our invitation. Until then, I'm Joe King.